That's what I want to
The
drink.
roll call, motion to go out of order?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Shira?
Yes.
Okay, I move to authorize the hiring of township administrator and approving his hiring agreement. Whereas Liberty Township trustees have posted and concluded interviews for the vacant position of township administrator. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Liberty Township, Delaware County, Ohio, to authorize the township administrator position description and approve the hiring of Michael Schuling as township administrator, and to further authorize and approve the attached hiring contract. I motion to approve resolution 19051702.
Second.
Take the roll.
There can be discussion when you're talking
Sure,
about
go
a
ahead.
resolution. I sincerely wish our administrator at this pass, who we are administrating Schuling, the best of luck. I, in good conscience, can't certainly pass a contract that isn't fiscally conservative. There's clauses in it that is unheard of. We had many resumes, and the clauses that have been put in here would not have to be put in there if there would have been someone else in this role. Particularly the fact is unheard of for it to be set up that if someone, your administrator is an at-will an employee. If they leave, if you look at Orange Township or if you look over at Genoa Township, there's clauses in there that you have to pay them 3 to 4 months. 4 months is the max. This contract is written up so that if we would terminate it, then the community would have to pay 12 months. So 3 times as much as the surrounding areas that I have found in looking at contracts. This contract also has built-in raises. That is something we have not done before. So it's just not a fiscally conservative move. Familiar with some of the recent contracts that have been passed, and I just can't support that.
Okay. Mrs. Icorn?
No.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes?
Mr. Gemperline?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I move to approve resolution 19051701, authorizing expenditure for private legal counsel. Whereas it is necessary for the township to utilize private legal counsel with expertise in zoning issues. And now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Liberty Township, Delaware County, Ohio, to authorize an expenditure not to exceed $3,000?
I think, I'm not, we can get Tracy in here. I'm not real familiar with how
I-
long this will go or what all the issues are, so we can start with 3.
Okay, not to exceed $3,000. Payable to Brochus Johnson and Griggs LLC for private legal counsel to assist with the township zoning issues.
Second.
Is this for multiple zoning issues or one specifically?
This is for the issue that they've said that we've had the prosecutor's office, well, I don't know if I can even say any of that. It's for one issue that I know of, but there are several issues that we get some conflicting guidance on. I know that was vague, but I don't know.
No,
if I can say what it is.
and we have to make sure our employees are represented.
Mr. Gemperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mike, we want to thank you for coming on board here at the township. We want to thank you for your interest. The majority of the board agreed that you were clearly the best candidate that applied for the job and that we interviewed. We are excited about your expertise in public safety. I, for one, feel that public safety is about the #1 priority of this board, that pre-hospital care is a big deal in our community. I feel that by bringing on, we stabilize and strengthen that in our community. And I know that you will work closely with the chief to make sure that we're providing the best pre-hospital care that we can. We look forward to your leadership. You were clearly, far and away, the strongest leader that we interviewed. We appreciate that you are coming into a situation that is very unstable. We recognize that to get the quality, the expertise, the professionalism of someone like you in this volatile situation where you were leaving a position that you needed you needed some solid, backup, and you needed to know that you had a stable opportunity here. Yes, the contract is unusual, and so is the situation. We know that you are the best, far and away, the best candidate for this job. And we base that on the dynamics of our current team, where we're strong and where we're weak. And you fit that perfectly. So we thank you for agreeing to the contract that we've prepared, and wish you the best of luck.
And the good thing is that you get to work with the award-winning Township Fire-Based EMS. That is phenomenal. So
And
that'll work well. And I know you don't have township administrative experience as some of the other candidates did, but I'm sure that will come.
now I'm going to move to go into executive session per ORC 12.
There's an do we need an effective date on this?
Immediately is,
Okay.
you know, can
Along
you,
that line, Mike, when, I don't know, maybe this has been discussed, when can you start?
I need to talk with my current employer and give 2 weeks' notice, but I can start immediately after that.
so we'll start immediately and see what comes of it.
The pay would start immediately today, or when he actually starts the position?
No, Monday.
Will you be here Monday?
I have to talk with my current employer and apply my 2 weeks' notice before I can actually start. I can't work 2 jobs at the same time.
So I wouldn't want to start paying until he's actually working.
No, so we'll leave it open until Monday night. But the hope is that he will.
Effective date. Do you wanna put 2 weeks from do you wanna put June 3rd? That would be 2 weeks
Let's
from
put
the
Monday, and if that changes, then we can change it.
I'm agreeable to that.
Effective May 20th?
But we do understand if it couldn't be Monday, because it would be hard to tell your bosses when you're a chief of a county EMS to leave them within a 24-hour notice, I think would be difficult. So we do understand and would be patient if it would be a couple weeks. So that is not going to be an issue.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, we'll move to go into executive session per RC 1212G1 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, compensation of a public employee or official. And Mike, I'd like to ask you to stay.
As a guest,
Just as part of the conversation.
if this is a human resources issue and the contract isn't signed, I don't think it's inappropriate for him to be here
We
then.
can sign it right now.
If you want to sign it, you can. I don't think it would be, I don't even know from a legal standpoint if we should have a guest if we're talking about a human resources issue.
It's
And
up
this
to the
included.
majority of the board who
That's-
attends an executive session.
That's fine, but we understand then that this may not be legal, bringing someone in on a human resources issue when this isn't done.
Does that contract date need to, be then changed to
I
today?
think you can have other people in here as long as it's an executive session and it is.
I will stand and just say that that is fine, but, or I'm not supporting that, but I know I wouldn't want other people to be hearing issues. It would be just inviting someone to the guest.
we
I can
have-
understand if there's a reason for this guest, if it's part of the discussion or this person's part of whatever this issue is. Is that the case?
Mhm.
And we'll see.
Okay, did I get a second to go into
No.
executive?
Yeah, second.
Okay.
What's the salary gonna be?
The contract will be available to you as soon as we sign it. Okay. Okay, we need to shut the door now, sorry. Thank you. This is just a resolution.
What do you think?
Move to adjourn. Thank you. Move to adjourn. Here's the second, the signature for our records. He has one of his records.
How many were interviewed?
Four.
4? Okay. That is this one. How
Sorry?
was it done? How did you do that?
Mr. Sibley,
All three of us have
I have a
reviewed every
couple
one of the
questions.
folders. This is
what
Vera.
did the two
Evaluated,
commissioners ask for,
She evaluated.
You looked for another job and why were you
I can't get
suspended
any
for 1
information
week?
out of her
Yeah,
anymore.
she
Was he
actually-
okay?
so
Can,
she
if you could ask me
evaluated all of
the first question again, so I can answer it.
Okay, why was Merrill and Benton said to look for another job or you would be fired?
I wasn't aware of that.
We looked at
Really?
I have
all the
not heard that.
resumes of those
Okay,
who
But I'm
Um,
glad,
look at-
I'm glad to hear
these
that.
are the
Why was
resumes
there
that
1
are
week suspension with no pay? What did that have to do?
There was a miscommunication with one of the Delaware County MS employees. The responsibility of that befell to me.
We looked at those
And
resumes.
it was determined that that was an incorrect management, and I was suspended for that.
Made a determination of who we wanted to interview.
It was the
and we
first
interviewed all of those people
record
based on
or
the board's
discipline I ever
prior
received at Delaware
interview.
County.
After
And how
that,
many years
we,
were you with
as
Delaware
trustees,
County?
17 years,
We are
ma'am.
welcome to call them. Questions
Do you have a
concerns, which I
bachelor's
have always
degree
done
in
the past with people
public?
we hired.
I do not.
Do you have business administration,
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't have any.
law,
concerns with it.
or related field?
As an education or an experience?
Both.
No, I don't have any, I do not have a degree in law.
Which I have no issues with.
5 years of local government management?
Yes, ma'am.
I saw that in
Okay.
the posting that you guys.
And
put
you
out
had at
that
least
you guys
50
preferred
employees
or
under
the
you.
potential,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
says the
Okay.
potential
Master
candidate would have
degree
a
in business?
bachelor's
No,
degree
ma'am.
in township
how did you
administration,
get this
law,
job?
whatever.
Yeah.
Hard work,
So if you look at
dedication,
Mr.
perseverance, and a desire to help people.
Schuling's experience,
Okay.
it far exceeds
Um,
any bachelor's or
That
master's
is
degree.
everything for right now.
I will tell
Okay,
you,
thank
as a
you.
business professional who evaluates people and has in the past, I would much prefer someone with the traits, the characteristics of Mr. Schuling than somebody with 10 degrees without those traits and characteristics. We have other people here who also have no degrees, and they do an amazing job.
So a lot of the conversation I'm hearing nowadays is this is a setup.
What is it for? What's the
The
setup
setup
for?
is, I don't know, but they're saying.
I don't know either. What-
They're saying that you're handpicking Mike.
Well, I didn't handpick Mike. In fact, I didn't even know he would apply for this job.
Okay.
He applied for the job.
That's what I need to know.
I was delighted that he did. I figured, you know, he has a pretty good job. He's worked his way up. He's been there, what,
Thank you.
20-something years. And so I was very excited. I think it solidifies our commitment to local EMS. I mean, why would I hire the county EMS director to
So
be our
you-
administrator
so
if I
you-
had any intention of
So
replacing him?
considering the
Use your head.
multifaceted facets and complexities of a township, especially this one,
Yes.
what's gonna be his primary job? Is it gonna be development? Is it gonna be the EMS? Is it going to be businesses? What?
Thank you.
That's a great question because, you know, whenever you're hiring somebody, you have to look at your team.
Yeah.
And you have to see where there's weaknesses and strengths in your team. While one of the candidates that we hired great candidates. One of the candidates, they were amazing in parks. We have an amazing parks guy. I mean, Andy, they don't come any better than Andy.
Yeah.
So that was not a strength where I was,
Yeah.
where I was looking. However, you know, I've come into the knowledge.
I would love to.
That's
what I was kind of.
that our EMS pre-hospital care is not the best. And, having, in our fire chief
But
is
yet
a
Shire says it's award-winning over here.
it was award-winning years ago because they implemented a program.
And from what I've seen of the township and all the residents, at all the meetings during all this,
You know,
they're pretty happy with it.
well, you know what? They have some assumptions. I will tell you, at that time, nobody had the assumption that we weren't sending the closest, fastest available vehicle. They assumed we were. Nobody had the assumption that we were working on a different protocol than Delaware County EMS. They assumed we were. Nobody assumed that we weren't implementing outcome-based protocol. Nobody assumed that we had 0 reports from our medical director. I've asked for all the reports from our medical director for how many months? And I've been given nothing. I have nothing. So I think a lot of
Was that
assumptions,
before you terminated his contract, or,
it was well before that.
okay,
Yes, it was well before that I began asking for reports. And, you know, I had been reached out to by staff over the years as well.
and
And
Chief O'Brien couldn't fulfill that for you?
he could not. He had not. So I don't know.
Tony, why don't you ask for the current medical director, reports that have been coming in?
That's an idea.
You should.
Okay.
Why don't you do that?
Okay,
So,
I'll,
Make sure you get on that.
okay.
Also, too, you want to
So-
make sure
so
when the
you've been
construction of 306 was done
Updated
too.
on these current reports, right?
pardon?
The current medical director.
So, yeah, before we
And what did they
entered
say?
into a contract with the current medical director, he showed us all the reports that he provides to his clients, his partners.
Right.
And they were pretty extensive and had
that
success
was back,
rates.
when was he, hired?
I believe we brought him
January?
on in January. He started in January.
So have you seen reports recently?
No, I haven't asked for
You haven't
reports.
seen any at all?
You might want to ask for him.
No, because
Okay.
what he's been doing is going on runs with the guys. He's determined that, they're gonna work on slowly implementing appropriate protocol. He's going to implement, testing.
So why haven't you asked for these reports? If you were after
I
Amber,
have called him and asked him how are things.
but you just said you didn't ask for them.
I don't ask for reports. I've called him and said, how are things going?
Okay.
And he's given me a progress report, and he said, we're building these things so that we can do these metrics. There was nothing in place. He came into something with nothing.
You might want to talk to
But
Battalion
he
Pator.
wants to go with what's already there. I was at the meeting, he says, what they're doing is great, we'll slowly implement from there and make changes, but for right now,
Mhm.
it's a great system.
But he had no reporting and no metrics. So he is now working on that. Of course, I reached out to him, asked him how everything is, what's going on, are you getting cooperation, everybody's cooperating. I've talked to some of the guys, they said it's
Wait.
good.
You're the liaison for the fire department, right?
I am.
Why aren't you on top of this?
I am.
Okay,
I've reached.
just checking. I mean,
I'm totally on top of it.
You're the go-to person for this.
You might want to ask our Battalion Patoric how many times he's met with the medical directors, how many times he's had contact with them since they've taken over. I'd also ask for the reports that have been done.
Okay.
So anyway, I did reach out to Dr. Panchel. I gave him time to have time to get over there and see what's going on. He told me he's been going on runs with the guys. He's working on developing some metrics so that we can measure.
Okay.
There was nothing in place. So I think he's building. I don't know that we had software or anything for it. So he is in the process of doing that.
Okay. Mike, what you got? What do you think? How do you feel about Mike?
I think that he was the best candidate.
Okay.
Um,
What did some of the other candidates have on their resumes that was different than Mike's to make Mike the best?
Well, experience with economic development probably was what I saw with the two that,
So they have more experience with economic development? Okay. Okay. But Mike doesn't have a lot of that experience.
no.
Okay. Okay. Going forward, where do you see the township going with Mike as the administrator?
I know that he will get into economic development.
Okay.
What he doesn't know, he will learn. I'm confident of that. And he has the most authoritative presence of anyone. And I think that he'll keep people in line.
Okay. But keeping people in line, he was just reprimanded for not keeping somebody in line in December. He had a week suspension without pay.
I understand.
So I would kind of see that as a negative, for somebody that's gonna keep people in line.
Well, if you don't know the details, I can see how you would say that.
Okay.
But I think he's gonna do a great job.
Okay. Going back to the economic development, you say he will learn as he goes. This is a very well-established township already with lots going on, lots of complexities like I was talking with Melanie about. Do you think he's gonna be able to beat that curve? Is he gonna be able to catch up fast enough, or is the economic development gonna start to wane in Liberty Township?
Well, to my understanding, I even asked one of our last meetings, what were we doing on economic development, and the response was nothing. So, yeah.
So instead of bringing someone seasoned in that can hit the ground running, it's better to, I guess, the thought process of other trustees must be it's better to bring someone that doesn't have the experience and waits for them to learn.
Okay. So,
I'm not in agreement with that, but
Okay, I was getting ready to
yeah,
say.
I'm not
where
in
do you
agreement with
stand
that,
here?
but basically if he's just telling you that that hasn't been happening, I'm not really sure then why we'd be bringing an administrator. That's
Somebody
not his
else in,
strength.
yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, okay. Anything else you can think of that really stands out for Mike that he'll do really well?
I think that he will put the image out of what we're doing to the community soon.
Okay, and what are you doing? Where do you want to go with this, Mike?
Where do I want to go with this?
Yeah,
I want people to know that our EMS is good and it's getting better.
so this is really all about the EMS.
That's part of it. It's a big part of it.
That's a big part of it. So that, in percentage, 60%, 70% of it?
I won't know that I would go that high. 50-40.
Because if he's standing on top of EMS, what happens to everything else that's below that?
Well, we will see.
Okay. I'll take that. We'll see.
We will
I
see.
can only talk to you directly, but,
Right.
and we have a learning curve now with a contract that says that, you know, if it's usually an at-will an employee, but now we have a situation where that if it doesn't work out,
Right.
and we have to go a different direction, that we're gonna have to pay 12 months of his salary, which if you look at some of the seasoned township administrators in the area, the most you're going to find is 4 months. So kind of similar to the medical director contract, where now we're paying, well, we're paying 3 times for the medical director. And I encourage you to go talk to the fire department to find
This
out what
whole
reports we're
conservative
getting.
thing is getting a
Yeah,
little out
the
of
fiscal
hand.
conservative is not happening here,
Right.
and so it's just very frustrating. So that, I would say that, you know, we had, I think it's 40 resumes, I think, came in. We did interview 4 candidates.
I'll ask Kathy to get that exact
You know, there
number.
was a candidate that had the fire EMS background and had a great deal of economic development. And this job and has
And where
all
did
those
he end
different
up?
facets.
Okay, if Mike was number 1, where did he fall? in that
I'm not
order?
going to release that information. I think that's private information. And
Okay.
and again, it's nothing personal. I really hope, and I will get behind this administrator when he takes this role. But I'm not going to pretend like
Okay.
I feel he was the most qualified candidate, nor am I going to pretend that this contract is even fair to the residents.
Okay,
And
and you
and,
did,
and absolutely,
and you voted
and,
no.
and that's part of the gig when you come in, that you know you're an at-will employee.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about, you know, this is a you know, a difficult situation. It is, but that is part of the gig, and the professional administrators know that, and they
Right.
still send in their resumes. So again,
Right.
it's just very unfortunate. Regarding some of the fire issues, those run cards that continues to be completely misrepresented. We always knew that Delaware Station 306, that was in the process of already being fixed. We have an award-winning. You don't have the complaints.
Now,
I've
Molly's
had-
saying that's in the past, and that's not the case
well,
now.
well, and here's the thing too, is that you have my fellow trustees that continue to try to build up this this false narrative that they keep pushing, that we had a broken fire department. We do not, and so now it's all about saving face, and I think that says a lot about why we are here today and who was chosen for that role. You know, we are working with the county. We're moving in that direction. We were supposed to be with the pre-care hospitalization committee. Chief came in, talked about it in February, but then from my understanding had heard that he was not supposed to be attending anymore. I've yet to get that passed with my 2 fellow trustees. We put time and time again about putting our support behind them as our primary EMS, and even though you can say that's ceremonial, I think that speaks a lot to them. Still couldn't get a second. So I think it's very clear through public record documents that have been, you know, requested, that there very much was an agenda there, and I think we all know where it lies, and unfortunately it continues on. And we had an opportunity to hire an administrator that could come in and focus on the areas that we really need, because we do have a fantastic fire department. We had a fantastic fire department 6 months ago. We had in Township Fire Base EMS, we had a fantastic one a year ago. What we're lacking in right now is being able to work with the city of Powell, working with the county, having someone come in and look at our economic development, especially with the things that have recently been passed in zoning. There are, you know, we've got the Parks and Roads Department, we have HR, we certainly have legal issues right now. So those are things that it would have been nice to have an administrator that had all of those. Being one of the largest townships in Ohio, and based on the difficult situation that is here. We all know it's difficult, but a seasoned administrator would have been able to come in and, like I said, hit the ground running. So, but we are where we are today now. The majority of the board passed, making him the township administrator. So I hope we give him all the tools we can and set him up for success. It's just unfortunate the majority of the board has got us in a situation that we are today. And when you throw out, well, you have all the proof. You've got all the documents.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
There's only one place that a trustee can affect taxes in the township, and that's through the fire bill.
Yeah.
That's the only tax we govern. And there was 2 conservative trustees that wanted to look into responsible ways to initiate more tax savings. One trustee did not.
But if you got more tax savings, but now you're paying an administrator more than you were the previous one, and now you got this James hospitalization, everything going on with them at 33 grand a year. Before it was only 6,000. How's that savings?
Okay, it was 12,000, which it was, no, it was never 6,000, it was 12,000.
Okay.
So,
But still, 33 compared to 12 is a big jump.
well, I think the 33 is up to 33, it doesn't mean that's what we're gonna get charged.
Okay.
And what they are doing is far more extensive than what we had before.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Good. You're welcome.
have a good weekend.
You too.